I am going to run through 10 questions that are similar to the questions on your quiz. However, the numbers are not the same, so make sure that you don't just copy my answers from this video and put them in your test, because you will score 0 if you do that. And in chapter 1, we talked about fractions, percentages, and decimals. This is just a supplement to your reading, so I'm going to go through this video with the assumption that you have already read chapter 1. So in our first question, $1,602.50 is 6.5% of what amount? So what we need to do first is convert that percent to a decimal. And to do that, we would take the 1 divided by 2, which equals 0.50, right? And then add, then we're assuming that our decimal is right here. So we'd move our decimal places 2, which would give us 0.065. So $1,602.50 is what amount? So what we do here is we take the 1602.50 and divide it by the 0.065. And that math comes out to be 24,653.80. A 50-foot by 100-foot lot has a 2,000 square foot house on it. What percentage, we got to watch for the word percentage, of the lot is not taken up by the house? And we have to watch for percentage because when I solve, I'm going to get a decimal or a fraction, and I need to report it as a percent. So I've got to remember to multiply by 100 to do that. So the first thing I do is I take my 50 by 100. So 50 times 100 equals a 5,000 square foot lot. So if I have a 2,000 square foot house on it, I subtract my house, and that leaves me with 3,000 square feet. What percentage of the lot is not taken up? Well, 3,000 square feet is not taken up. 3,000 of the 5,000. So now we're going to take that 3,000 and divide it by 5,000, and that's going to equal 0.6. We multiply that by 100 to give us a percentage, and we get 60% of the lot is not taken up by the house. In this question, it wants us to convert the following to decimal equivalent. So for A, we say 1 divided by 4 equals 0.25. 7 divided by 8 equals 0.875. 12 3/4 is going to be the 12, but 3 divided by 4 equals, so it's 12.75. Now on this one we have to be careful because this says percent. So we will get, because 1 divided by 2 is 5, we will get 0.06. Now let me back up how I explain that. We're not making it into a percent. It is a percent, which means that, let me erase this. I was jumping a step and giving the answer. So 6.5%, well, we know one would, if we left it like this, 6.50 like we did up here. Only thing is this is a percent, which means that it already was divided by 100 instead of multiplying. So we've got to move our decimal place too. So this answer is 0.065. And it's the same down here with the 10 3/8. 3 divided by 8 is 375. But we've got to move that decimal place from right here to, we got to move it back to here. We're moving it back 1. So this is actually 0.10375. I hope that wasn't too confusing. So because of the percent, we're assuming that there is a decimal point back to the left too. But watch this, because that's the difference between this one coming out like this and these having the decimal. So watch for where it says percent. Just be real cautious of that. Okay, if your monthly rent is $700, what percent is your annual rent of your annual income? Remember, we're dealing with a percent here. Turn my pen back on. This is important. That tells us at the end we're going to multiply by 100. So our monthly rent is $700, but we need our annual rent. So we're going to multiply it by 12 because there are 12 months in a year. And so our annual rent is $8,400. So your annual income is $3,500. So to find the percent that $8,400 is of $35,000, we're simply going to divide our annual rent by 35,000, and that gives us 0.24. Since we're answering a percent, we multiply that by 100, and our answer is 24%. Okay, on this question, it says $805.80 is 10.5% of what amount? So what amount? And we have a percent here. So we've got to convert this to a percent, or to a decimal. It is a percent. So we can assume that our decimal place is right here. So we have 0.105. So we take our 805.80 and divide it by, and that equals 7,674.29. And we can work that math to check it by taking that number and multiplying it. Take this times 0.105, and it should equal And it does 105.80. I'm sorry, 805.80. A first-year associate sold 95 of 425 homes sold by his office last year. What percent of the homes were sold by the associate? So we need to know a percent. So what we're going to do is take $95 out of, or divided by 425 equals 95 divided by 425 equals 0.2235294 times 100, and I'm gonna leave that at just the whole percent, So I'm gonna round this part, which that 3, so that means times 100 is 22%. Okay, 1/8 is equal to what percent? There's that word again. You're gonna have to watch for this in your quiz. So 1 divided by 8 equals 0.125 times 100 equals 12.5%. What percent of 8,000 is 42,000? What percent? So in this case, we take our 8,000, divided it by 4,200. Nope, sorry, backwards. I did that backwards. It's the 42 divided by 8,000 equals 4,200 divided by 8,000 equals 0.525%. I have to times 100, so that equals, let's round it up and call it 53%. Or 50, to be exact, 52.5%. And round it up. A seller purchased her home for $243,000 and sold it for $325,260. What percent of profit did she realize? Well, how much is her profit? It's $325,260 minus 243. So that means that her profit is $82,260. So now what percent of profit did she realize? So to determine this, we take the 82,260 and divide it by the amount that she purchased her home for, which is 243, and that equals 0.33852. Percentage times 100 equals, and if we want to round this up, we're going to get 34%. Okay, a house listed for $355,000 and sold for 90% of the list price. For what amount What's a dollar here? So we've got to convert this 90% to a decimal. So we move that imaginary decimal place 2 places, and we say 355 times 0.90 equals, if we do the math, it equals 390. I got ahead of myself. It's 319, not 13. So let's see. If we do that math, it's 319, 500,000. And that's it. Good luck on your quiz. Let me know if you have any questions.